Okay, I got an exciting book for you today. New book that just came out a few weeks ago or a week ago, early June 2025, whatever you're watching this. Nancy Wears Hats, a new volume collecting strips by Ernie Bushmiller of the enormously popular comic strip Nancy. Enormously popular maybe at the time. I don't know if it's popular anymore. Actually, there's a newer version with a newer artist that I don't read at all. I'm not interested in that. The version I like is the Ernie Bushmiller one. So let's take a look at this volume. So years ago, Fantagraphics, who published this, they tried to release the year by year collecting the daily strips, and they got through 3 volumes before they kind of just broke down and stopped. And it seemed like sales weren't good. The books were also really thick paper, expensive, about $40 a book, and yeah, so I don't think sales were that great. So they've come back with this format, which is only 2 years of strips, I think, in each volume. I'm about halfway through it. I'm still reading it, but I didn't want to wait. And but as near as I can tell, it's they each volume is going to be, or this volume contains 2 years worth of material, 1949, 1950, just the daily strips. And yeah, so I'm cool with that format. 2 years. I think they have a lower price point. It's like $24.99. I would buy a copy of this if I lived in the U.S. I don't live in the U.S. though right now, and I'm not going to ship it. So for now, I'm just going to read it on Hoopla. You can take a look on Hoopla and read it too. But whatever you do, just do something to contribute towards the spreading of Nancy culture, because we need to make sure this thing sees. There's this subplot in this issue of Sluggo getting fat. So for like about a week, he's slightly more rotund. There's also these minor mini plots in here of like Sluggo getting a job, and I think this is kind of a transitory point in the history of Nancy. It's kind of shifting away from these extended plot lines that you saw in early episodes, like also in Fritzy Ritz. Ernie Bushmiller would have storylines that sometimes went on for weeks, and like they would travel across the country. Fritzy Ritz would be in Hollywood. Yeah, so a lot has changed. But in the later years of Nancy, she becomes more like this almost abstracted thing for where there's no sense of continuity. It's just like the cheesy punchlines. And I like all eras of Nancy, don't get me wrong, but I think this era in particular is really good. This 1949 to 1950. It's a great place to start if you've never read Nancy. It has a lot of funny stories, great art, great gags. By this point, Nancy's aunt, Fritzy Ritz, it seems like all she does is yell at Nancy. She just like comes in and says no. She says no so many times. Like Nancy will ask her for something. No, you've been bad today. Go up to your room. Just no, no, no. That's all she says. Very different from the freewheeling flapper that she was in the early Fritzy Ritz comic strip, in which she would be in Hollywood, sleeping with any director and actor that she could to work her way up the Hollywood totem pole. But now she only registers horror and negativity in this era. But that's fine, because we don't really need her anymore. She's kind of been relegated to a background. So these strips are wonderful. Yeah, there's a lot of plot lines with Sluggo getting a job. He works in a bank. He works in a circus. This volume could have been Sluggo tries to work. I love this one. Let's see if I can make this larger without destroying. I don't like the navigation on this desktop version, but okay, here we go. All right, so this one's great. There's no dialogue. It's just Sluggo. This watermelon's enormous, right? So he opens it. He eats an entire watermelon, which is like about 80% his mass, which is incredible. And then he goes into it to hibernate or something. And that's the strip. And I thought it was hilarious. So I can get this thing back to normal without breaking it. Okay. Yeah, so wonderful art in these strips. I've been doing my own Nancy strips. If you haven't seen them, look on my community thing or my Patreon. There's a link, or what's it called, Blue Sky. Yeah, that's where I posted. I've done 12 of them so far. They're very different from this. I'm using AI to illustrate it because I'm lazy. And yeah, but I think this is for me like the gold. Like I've mentioned certain artists, and probably Jack Kirby, Robert Crumb, George Harriman. I'm not sure who else. Like I've mentioned only so many artists that like that get as much name play as Ernie Bushmiller on my channel, because for me, he's like design and comics, not even immortal. He transcends the mortal realm and does something great. The only kind of thing in this volume that I notice is that there's not much of an essay really explaining. How do I navigate this? Let's look at the back, the end of the volume. Okay, so it says with over 300 strips. I think there's actually over 600 strips, but I don't know. Like I'm not clear if they're publishing the entirety. It's kind of vague. So if they're from somehow skipping strips, I'm kind of annoyed. It just says strips from 1949 to 1950. So I assume it's complete, but I don't know. Then there's this kind of minor essay, not really a full essay, by an anonymous editor. And then, yeah, there's the end. So if it is complete, I applaud them. If it's not complete, I'm like, why? But I think it's complete. It's just kind of, why are you being kind of coy about it? Just tell me if it's complete. But either way, buy this volume and support the Nancification of the world, whatever that means. Check it out. The title again is Nancy Wears Hats, I think. Yeah, Nancy Wears Hats. I think the earlier volumes were being designed by Chris Ware? I don't know about that, but I don't think he's on board anymore. I don't know what happened to him. I'm trying to get the cover to show up, but it's not working. Anyways, the title is Nancy Wears Hats, but refuses to show me the cover. If you want to read it on Hoopla, I suggest not using the desktop version. use either your phone or probably a tablet is the best way. But check it out, Nancy Wears Hats.